Okay, let's go. This video is going to show you 3 ways as a doc to figure out how you matter and to leave an impact in this world. We all want to make sure that we're important, that we matter. When it comes down to the end of our days, if you're writing your own eulogy, like you want to make sure you mattered. Well, I want to say as a doc, you matter, okay? You have an important role in this world. I personally just went through a medical scare and had to have a lot of tests and even a surgery. And I would hang on the words of the doctors. I see a lot of consultants, and I would even try to read their face. Like, is it good news? Is it bad news? And I would think about it all morning, what the visit was going to do. So you matter. Okay. So if you take nothing more from this video, all the docs out there, you matter. Thank you for what you do from the bottom of my heart. It meant the world just to have all those support with what I just went through. So I really appreciate it. Okay, but back to you. This is for you. As a busy doc, how do you make sure that you filled your life with what matters to you? That you think about your work, you leave an impact in this world? Well, I have to argue, even if you're kind to one person, you do a great job reviewing the chart, you come up with a diagnosis, you support them through the plan, the surgery, the treatment, just support, just kindness, it just mattered so much to me. So, even that 100%, it makes such a difference because then I share that with my family and my friends. And I'm a different person because people are kind to me. And you can also have that impact. It's contagious. So when you're kind and you're caring to your patients, it matters. So thanks again. But do you want to even matter more? Do you want to have a greater impact in this world? Let's think about it a little bit. So this video is for docs who want to learn 3 ways to really matter in this world, to leave an impact. Please like and subscribe because in this channel, I talk about the fact that the problem is we as docs go through a lot of training, go through medical school and residency, but yet we don't learn that professional development journey. For decades, we're doctors and we're doctors, so think like that's like a brick, like you're a doctor now. But yet our brain loves to learn and set new goals and hit new targets and, keep life interesting. So we don't learn in medical school or residency, that adult lifelong journey. And just acknowledging that and how to work with our neuroscience. So in this channel, Brain Fresh, I like to talk about work and joy. And actually, all the researchers in happiness and joy tell us that really joy comes from goal pursuit. So, pursuing a goal rather than even hitting the goal. Amazing, right? So, just that day that you decided you were going to go to medical school, that brought out a lot of positivity, a lot of hope, a lot of positive emotions. And then you figure out how to get it done. You talk to people, who did it. I remember we had an anesthesiologist that lived in our neighborhood because I didn't know anyone who was a doc. I knew a nurse, but I didn't know any doctors. I didn't have any doctors in my family. So I talked to the one doctor in our neighborhood just for advice and my own pediatrician and just for suggestions. And so when we're out there setting goals, then we have an eye toward how do we get that goal done? Our subconscious kind of kicks in and looks for resources for us, right? So I want to tell you about 3 actions to take to feel that you have an impact and realize where you can have an impact and actually have an impact, but also have the capacity to have an impact, to leave an impact in this world. A lot of people are too tired, too sleep deprived, too lonely, too sad, too exhausted to have the capacity to do this. So first, there's those Maslow's needs. As doctors, we also have those needs. We're not, we don't get a pass that we need to have nutrition and sleep and rest and to move our bodies and to have healthy connections and supportive connections. So we have to meet the basic needs, but let's go into this. Okay, number 1, we have to accept accountability. And by that, I mean for ourselves, that we are accountable for our own learnings. So sometimes we think, well, our employers should give us the time and the money to learn. And that may be true, but we really were driving the show here. Okay. So we need to ask people what they did in order to keep their career interesting over the decades. Maybe you have a certain goal. Maybe it's not even in medicine itself, but it's something more personal. Like I learned how to play golf the last few years. I'm still playing. It's not a past tense. I'm still learning. I'm running for a local office. I'm running for a local council seat in my town. So I've been learning about that. So new things. And I also have put more art into my life. So that's something I'm learning about. So just learning and opening doors to new cultures, new ideas, new people, setting the goal, that's where the happiness is. Actually, not hitting the goal is not where the happiness is, which is interesting. So when you think of your like med school graduation, sure, happy, really happy, right? You did it. You can't believe it. But how long did that particular happiness last? There's more long lasting happiness when you're in the middle of a goal pursuit. Okay, so the first one is accept accountability. From a neuroscience sense, I also think we have to be accountable to that organ between our ears, our lovely, amazing brains, because it's an organ. It's more like a garden than a brick, right? So it needs to be, it needs good hydration, nutrition, rest, and connections and emotional processing. So we have to be accountable to it. We can't just think and take from it, like that we can work all day and all night and not give it anything. So there's some researchers that suggest when we ask something of the brain, like we want to learn something, like pursue a goal, then we have to give it more support. Okay. It's kind of like if you want to think about it like a busy parent, it's already doing a million things, right? It runs our whole body, all our organ systems. I don't need to remind you, but it's busy. So when we also want to pursue a goal, we have to make sure we do more for ourselves, that we, in a sense, that of nutrition and rest and hydration and connections. So positive connections are renewing. They give us more energy. They feed us in a sense. In order to accept accountability of our adult learning and our adult professional development journey, we have to, number one, acknowledge that that brain between our ears is more of a garden, less of a brick. Okay. It's not just stuck in us and it's just not a solid object that doesn't change over time. So we have to give it some love and care. Okay. How do we do that? Well, you could set up I have a women doc accountability group. I call it WAG, Women Doc Accountability Group, and we meet and we go over, where are you? What goal do you want to set? What resources do you need? And just talk about it because the researchers, like MBA researchers, professional development researchers, like Dr. Boyatzis, Richard Boyatzis, I highly recommend his books because he's funny and smart, and has done functional MRIs when people are setting goals. Is that when we have this group around us, kind of to shepherd us as we grow and learn, we will more likely hit our target. Like this year, I had a target to be in the Olympics because I always wanted to be in the Olympics. And I was like, well, how long am I going to wait? So then I figured out, well, how can I be in the Olympics at my stage of life? So I was in the Senior Olympics this year, riding a bike 17 miles, and it was a race. I can ride a bike 17 miles, but racing a bike 17 miles is another story, especially on a mountain bike. Okay, you can put in the comments. Not highly recommend to race on a mountain bike. So there's things to learn, but I did set a goal. I shared the goal. I talked to people along the way. I did not buy all the right equipment, but I did it and it was really fun. My husband and I did it together. So WAG groups or women accountability groups, this is what I offer through BrainFresh. You put in the comments or just email me at thebrainfresh@gmail.com if you want more info, because I'm going to start a fall group up soon. Okay, so the good news is if you want to set a goal, you just put some people on your team. And the recommendation by Dr. Boyasis is to put about 5 people on your team. So if you have a new goal, make sure you have a team that's going to support you through the change, okay? Because there's a lot of mindset issues that come up, and just sharing resources and supporting each other, you're more likely to hit the goal if you do that. If you put a supportive team around you, not a huge team, the suggestion is 5 people. Okay, so back to number 1, accept accountability for your noggin upstairs, your garden. Support it, and then support it with people. Put people around you, a WAG group like I have in BrainFresh. And then discipline. So I heard an interesting quote the other day is you can feel the pain of discipline, or you can feel the pain of regret. So discipline is sometimes annoying. Like I just don't feel like doing it. I'll push it off till tomorrow. but the pain, you can feel either pain. It's this quote suggests, feel the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. So to get things done, we have to put systems into place, obviously, and that's where the discipline really will serve us. And then number 3 is outreach. Just reaching out to others. What did you do? How did you do it? So I reached out to some other bikers about the Senior Olympics, or when I was starting my small business, I definitely got into groups of docs that were learning how to start a business. And I got in a group with women starting businesses. So always put people around you when you're trying to learn something. So number 1, when you're trying to find that professional joy, that development to feed your journey as an adult doctor, because we are decades as doctors and we want to keep learning, we can drive our own knowledge and our own skill building. And the suggestion is, we can read all we want, but we actually have to take actions too. Okay. So along that journey, number 1 is accept accountability. Number 2 is to build capacity. So often, people say, like, I don't have the time or energy to make any change. I don't have any power to think about things. Like, I don't see, literally, I just had a doc who is like a young mom, and her partner is in med school, or they have little kids. She told me, like, I don't see how I can have joy in this profession. So I have been there at some points where I think, like, this is really hard. Like, I'm exhausted. I don't have time. I'm just trying to get the kids. I have 4 kids, get them to their own activities. I'll just deal with what I can deal with. But I want you to know that there's literature out there that suggests how to do this, how to put systems into place so you can find joy, because joy is not like happy go lucky, everything's perfect. Joy is being intentional. Okay, so let's talk about building capacity for change. So if you say, like, yeah, I do want to keep growing professionally, I want to maybe try to learn how to do research, or learn how to write a grant, or learn how to start a business, which I offer. I coach women docs who are have either started a business or are thinking, like, I think I want to start a business. I don't know where to start. Well, come on, I'll coach you one-on-one. I like to do that one-on-one because we really could dive into it. Um, okay, building capacity. Where do we start? Well, our physical health matters, right? And so, you need to talk to your physician, exercise as you're able. Like we talked about, I call it a warm system for your brain. So warm, the W is water. Make sure you stay hydrated. The A is appetite. Make sure you have your nutrition that you need, and talk to your doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just professional development advice. And then the R is rest, and the M is movement. So a nice system to think of for your brain is the warm system. You might want to take a day, if you have a pet at home, and think how you treat your pet compared to how you treat your brain. Do you think more about your pet's nutrition, your pet's rest, your pet's toys, your pet's water bowl being filled compared to your own? Mm-hmm. Does that sound familiar? So I see a lot of people put a lot of time and energy toward their pets, but no time or energy toward that own amazing organ between their ears. So we do think about the warm system to build your physical capacity. Okay, warm. W is your water. A is your appetite. R is your rest. Very important. M is your movement. So you can talk to your own physician about how to do that personally, depending on your own personal health needs and abilities. Okay, the second one is cognitive capacity. How do we build our cognitive capacity? Well, phones steal a lot of our time, right? So we have to put some limits on the phone. I learned how to gray out my phone. So if you want to know how to do that, to gray screen your phone, I heard that on a podcast and I was like, what is that? And then my daughter taught me how to do it. And it saved me, it got me like another hour a day. Gray screen your phone. Highly recommend it. Because it's less dopamine when you look at the screen. It's just less exciting. Like someone said, I don't like it because I can't really see it, but it's, you can see it. It's just very, it's low lighting. It's just gray on gray, gray on white. So it's just not that exciting. It's just like, you don't really want to look at it. I didn't really want to look at my phone as much, which was nice. So I got a new hour of the day, getting off my phone. So that was amazing. So we want to, when we're looking at our cognitive capacity, we want to make sure we put ourselves into new situations. So we're learning, we rethink things that are just kind of set in our days. Like, do we actually need these particular meetings? Do these particular people, really enhance our growth, enhance our happiness, and enhance our cognitive reserve? Or do they take, So if everyone is taking our time and energy, we have to think about rebuilding our cognitive reserve. So if you want to think like a dinner plate full of information all day long, you keep putting more and more on your plate. It's like a big smorgasbord, it's full. There's nothing else you can put in your brain. You need to step away, recharge a little bit. Okay. And so we talk about physical capacity, cognitive capacity, and then emotional capacity. How do we build our emotional capacity? One of the reasons, as I read about burnout, one of the reasons the literature suggests that healthcare can burn out at the rate that we do is because of intense emotional discussions. And this was also noted in other professions like social work and teaching, because there could be a lot of emotional interactions throughout your day. And that is tiring, that takes from you. So, how do you build it up? Well, there's ways you could go out into nature. I love going out into nature, even just looking out the window. I have a big window here. It's beautiful out today. If you have a pet is renewing, especially if they're furry, if they're a cat or dog, not a fish so much. That helps our parasympathetic system kind of regroup. That's our rest and relax system. Having conversations with people that are renewing. So that would be the opposite of some of the emotionally demanding conversations. But in little chats or discussions with people that are more renewing. So those could be friends, colleagues, your partner, as long as they're renewing, they fill your cup. So those are ways we emotionally can process our days. Journaling is another great one. I mean, I read a recent study that people who had lost their jobs and those that journaled every day for 15 to 30 minutes, they got another job more quickly. And the theory was that maybe they were processing emotions and thinking about the situation a little bit more so they could bring that to the table, be emotionally a little bit more recharged. Okay, so we have physical capacity we're building, our cognitive capacity we're building, and we're building these because we want to see new options. We want to keep growing because in order to feel vital and feel like we have impact in this world, we also have to be living and growing. So, but we have to give ourselves extra fuel to grow, right? And so we can do that by physically building our capacity, cognitively building our capacity, emotionally building our capacity, and then in a service sense, building our capacity. And that means what we do for others. This is again looking at what impact will your work have? If you're working on a project, you're leading a team, you're building a committee, what is the possible impact that could have from the team? What could the benefits be? How could it affect your community? I mean, it's exciting when you think about kind of high level, even though boots on the ground and day-to-day work can be tedious, but what could this mean for your community if you get this campaign through, if you get this grant, if you start this research project? What could it mean for you? Or if you start a small business, if you start a big business, if you start at the WAG group with me, and you start learning from other docs, like, oh my gosh, there's options out there and there's new solutions and there's new ways of looking at things. And we can set new goals because we know goal pursuit is where the joy is. Okay. So we'd be intentional with our time and our actions. Okay. So number one was accepting accountability with the WAG group, accountability group. Discipline, because discipline can be quote unquote painful, but so can regrets. And then three is outreach. So we reach out to others for sure. We don't do this alone. There's no need to do it alone, even though the message in the world says you have to figure this out yourselves. The more we do this together, the easier and more fun it is. And it's allowed to be fun. There is also a message that work has to be grinding and horrible and all by yourself and you got to figure out yourself. It's not true. The more we work together, the literature suggests, and share resources, the more everybody succeeds, and it's actually fun. Okay, so accept accountability. Number two is building your capacity. In capacity, we talked about physical capacity, cognitive capacity, emotional capacity, service capacity. We have to keep our eye on all these capacities because they build on each other. Okay, we can't have only one of those. Sometimes someone's really good at exercise, but not so much at thinking about their cognitive abilities or their emotional processing. And so we all are good at certain things or things come easier to us. That's okay. We can keep learning and doing new things. Okay. Number three, small actions build courage. But the key word here is actions. So we can learn, and I love to read, and I love to read books, and I love to just listen to podcasts and TED Talks and just get new information. But we also need to take action. So one lecturer the other day said it should be 50-50. You can learn as much as you want, but you can learn, but you also should take 50% of your time and start new actions. Because we know in a neuroscience sense, if we want to learn, we physically have to move and take those actions, right? And when we take actions, then we feel courageous. So don't wait to feel the courage, because the courage comes from taking the action. Okay. So a lot of times we're under the assumption, I'm going to wait till I feel totally ready for this, till I feel courageous, then I'll take the action. No, actually, neuroscience suggests it's the opposite. You take the action and then you feel the courage. Okay. So I want you to just number one, just below, just like and subscribe so you can keep getting these videos. I'll just give you little tips each day so you can start this week to learn how to build joy in your professional journey. I love to share the neuroscience tips on how to find that joy in the professional journey. And then share it with someone that you're like, you could tell they're kind of stuck and they're looking for some new resources, and you just want to be like, hey, yeah, check this out. And then put in the comments, which one will you start this week? Are you going to accept accountability? Are you going to build your capacity? Are you going to take a small action? So proud of you. You got this. Okay. Thanks for listening. See ya.